Today we're going to be making the Boss Baby. There you go. So you can see what it looks like ahead of time, right? It's like to help you out because I know sometimes you may be reading what it is below, but maybe you don't see what it ends up looking like. So I just wanted to make sure that I take care of that and show you what we're aiming for, and then we're going to make it. So it's a Boss Baby. As you can tell, there's smart work on it, but if you have printed balloons like I have over here, you can see, we'll talk about how you can make additions to that, or it doesn't matter, you can still have a nice Boss Baby. I just thought I'd give it a little bit of an attitude. So let's talk about the balloons that we're going to use and the markers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this little Boss Baby down for now. There we go. So the markers, I'm using a yellow and a white paint marker, and that's going to be doing the dress shirt that's underneath, and I even just use a little bit of yellow for the belt buckle at the end, and then the eye area is going to be using that, so the white one. And then we also have our brown, black, and blue, and that's for the details. So anyway, let's go over the balloons we're going to be using. It is a couple of rounds, as you can see here, a black, a blush, and then our two 160s here. That's a blush and a black that we're using, okay? So, pardon me. So what I like to do when I twist is I will turn the sound down, and then I will do a voiceover, and you can follow along that way, and hopefully I don't go too fast or too slow. And then we'll turn it back up again when it comes to the art. So, this is almost lost my mind there for a second, couldn't speak. So if this is your first time joining me, you know, feel free to pause at any moment. And what I've started doing now too is I leave the comments on below, and so you know, send me a message, no big deal, and I'll be happy to help you the best I can. So anyway, here we go. Let's bring the sound down. All right, so let's get right to it. We're gonna split the black balloon, and then we're gonna add the blush right to it. You notice that I did speed this portion up just because it's almost a revisit to the Kakamora design, and I actually end up talking about that at the end. One thing to also point out while we're doing this, at the end I do have to do some edits to cut the video down because I do go a little long in the art section. So I just wanted to make sure that I was just trying to do the best I could and fit everything in that I was supposed to. So those are already done for the rounds, as you can tell, and I went right to a 160 to add our arm. There we go, and I'm going right down to a leg, pinch twist, 2 loops to make the feet, and then I'm going to go right back up again to make the other arm. So you can see this design is pretty easy, and it's with a little bit of, you know, imagination, you hopefully can realize like how many characters you can probably jam through by doing this. You know, you just sit down and think about it, write them down, look at this, you know, what I'm making, and just think like, oh my goodness, how many can I make? And you'll probably be able to come out with quite a few. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of this design right here, as you can tell. The last piece that I'm going to do, because I do have a blush, is I'm going to go ahead and add the hands, and I'm just going to create 3 pinch twists here. There you go. And then for the other one, so the first one I'm going to go ahead and break it off and keep it, and the second one I'm actually going to leave a tail on that. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I do want that little hand on the hip, kind of again conveying the attitude. So keep that in mind with this type of design. You know, you always want to go for something that's pretty modular, so that you could use it over and over and over, and do a lot of characters with it, which is always very fun anyway. So there we go. I'm just going to go ahead and attach that arm, or excuse me, that hand to the arm. And then what I'm going to do, because I have that tail of balloon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that hand up against the hip, and then I'm going to take that tail and I'm going to wrap it pretty tight so it stays up against there. And it ends up working pretty good. There we go. And so once I have that secure and like that, I'm going to go right to the other little hand, and that's pretty much going to be the end of the design there. So think about that. You know, right now I did the arms and the legs and the feet, everything was the same color, but you could always change. And you know, if your character is wearing different shoes, you could change the shoes. If they're wearing gloves, you can add different hands to see the gloves. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this one was pretty easy to follow. if you were here last time or looked at the other video, the Kakamora from Moana is using that same concept here, except last time we drew a face there and we didn't add the head. So this now has become, instead of being a face, has now become the torso, which is not a bad thing. So that's what you're always looking for when you have your designs. Move them around a little bit and see what you can get out of them. Exploit them in a way, you know, in a good way. Anyway, let's talk about the art now. So we're gonna go for, let me hold this one up again so you can see. I'll hold it up here kind of close so you can see. We're definitely trying to go for some attitude there. See, so I move those eyes down. Now, I'm not actually going to draw in black right now. I'm using a brown. I'm going to do all my work in brown, and then I am going to add a little bit of black later, okay? Excuse me. So let's go ahead and start that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is I do like the little swirl for the hair there. So you can kind of see. I'm going to go based off of this. And if you've never worked with a baby head before, they are from Lorax. I designed that artwork for them. And so if you don't feel like drawing, that's definitely the way to go. You know, this cuts down on time. But if you have time and you're in a setting where you feel like you're drawing, or you feel like drawing and you know how, and you have some blush balloons, why not, you know? So anyway, like I said, it just cuts down on time having the baby head. So let's start with the little swirl up here. There we go. So I did a little swirl on the forehead there. And I'm actually going to go right down. I'm going to go for the nose. Itty bitty nose. This is being a little hash mark. And then we'll go for the mouth. I'm going to have it turned up a little bit. Like a little bit of a smirk, kind of. Hopefully you can see that well. And you notice I was holding that there a little bit longer just to make sure you get a good chance to look at it. Okay, so now probably to the toughest part of everything is probably the eyes. So with the eyes, you can definitely be really basic. It could just be that, and then you draw. So you can be that basic, right? Let me take a look at that, study it just for a second. Okay. Or again, I'll bring this one back up again. You know, you could definitely really get into it. But even this one is not difficult. You just have to see it in terms of layers. You know, it's almost the same thing for like face painting. You know, you want to see it in layers, and so that's what I'm going to do here. But again, still going to take some practice to make sure you get that right. See? So I'm going to repeat on the other side here. And notice I did close it off on the, or did go in on the sides there on the bottom of the eye. But I'm not going to completely close it off though. And that's the neat thing about with some of these things is not necessarily any, you know, hard rules. It just depends on, you know, you can kind of jazz with it a little bit. You know, they're the parameters you need to stay within, but you do have a lot of flexibility within those, though. That's the nice part about it. So keep that in mind. All right. And I'm, you know, I don't mean to get become, you know, so philosophical when it comes to talking about art here. So let's go ahead and add the eye in here. There we go. You might have noticed also when I did this eye here, I'm not doing the full round eye because I do want the eye being closed, so it is going to hide part of the pupil there, as you can tell. So those are the things to keep in mind when you're seeing this kind of stuff. And it helps also. Look in the mirror. If you have a mirror, if you have a handheld mirror, make faces into a mirror and just look at it and study it. You'll see exactly what the face will do. But that's the cool thing about the cartoons is that got a little more flexibility. You can play with it a little more, you know. So anyway, Okay, gonna end with the white here on the eye there. And I'm not gonna go inside. There's a little spot right there, but I'm not gonna hit that right now. I'm not too worried about that not being filled in. Okay, and then I do want some glare in the eye, so I'm just gonna do one big one, one little one. So you can see one big one, one little one. Oops, let me back that up a little bit. Okay, and then same thing over here. One big one, one little one. Okay, there we go. All right, and then so for the middle here, I'm going to create the little pieces of the shirt, of the collar, the little sharp points on the collar there. Mine are buttoned down, but get an idea. Let me hold that up. Okay. And so what I'm going to do now to create the tie is I'm going to just basically work with the negative space. So I'm just going to pretend, you know, this black area, what I'm going to do is outline it, like where you kind of have to pretend like you can see it. See, what I've done is I've outlined a tie there. Okay. And I do want him to have a white shirt underneath since I already started with the white collar. So I'm just going to come straight down pretty much where those little points of the collar were. I'm going to follow those straight down parallel along the tie there, and then I'll just connect them at the bottom here, and then I'm just going to fill in. I'm going to skip filling in the collar for now and just go straight down and fill in the rest of this right here. It's not what I would call prime time. So so you can see, there we go. Hold that up, hold this up. Okay, and then the yellow, like I said, it's gonna be just a small piece right here. We're gonna say that's his little belt buckle. And see, that's the neat thing about another neat thing about this is that we can fill a lot of this stuff in with our mind when we see it. We don't have to or be told what it is or what's supposed to go there. We realize when we see the front of this, we know what this is. It's like the tuxedo shirt. When we put it on, that's what's so goofy and genius about it, that we know what it is. We know what they're trying to do, you know, when they have that. So there it is. So now let's talk about really quick to finish up. What can you do if you have this baby head already and you want to make it have some attitude? No worries. I'm still going for the brown. I'm going for the brown. So I'm going to treat this like the pupils are already there in the case with the other one that we did. So we're going to go out in front of it a little bit, and then we can adjust the eyes. We can do the same thing over here. Okay, there we go. And now we can add in our eye color. Gonna stick with the blue for now. In this case, because I have space, I can go all the way around too. And one of the upsides to having the pre-printed balloon is that you won't pull any of this black out, which is cool, because if you're using the Sharpie, you might pull some of that black out of it, cause that to bleed. So I know hopefully this is a pleasant surprise that we're doing like a little bit of art in addition to just the balloon, because I know sometimes that could be a difficult part when you are getting ready to draw on your balloon. Okay, now I'm just filling in the white. Let me go ahead and color those in, and then I'm actually going to make an addition of one other little white spot. There we go. Okay, there we go. So you notice you can definitely dress those up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I look forward to making some more for you. Until then, happy twisting.